What I'm thinking is this film is actually all about people participating and having a chance to have a voice around what happens locally. Just finding out whether or not you're going to be voting in the referendum
Of course.
today.
Absolutely.
Fantastic.
And it'll be yes.
We're voted.
You voted?
Yes,
fantastic.
I delivered all the pamphlets here
So I
yesterday.
hear, yeah.
If there's an opportunity to vote, I will certainly take it.
Yeah, okay, that's very good, Richard. So I think PRP campaign, I think you have actually had some feedback that says the campaign has made a difference because it's informed people on the council.
Yes.
And it's given them the opportunity to make a more informed choice around the local plan. Here we are at the referendum, so the people in these parishes get a chance to vote on their neighbourhood plan.
Yes, which is the smaller plan.
Which is a smaller plan for both parishes, which is about planning, housing here, as well as what we want to do with the countryside. What is exciting about at 10 o'clock tonight when we get the result of the neighbourhood plan is over the course of this last 2 weeks, we will have the full blast of local communities influencing what happens to their place, whether it be Greater Peterborough and protecting countryside for everybody in Peterborough, or whether it be our parishes and what we want to do around housing, natural environment, amenities, and including and encouraging visitors. We'll know about that as well.
Number cast in favour of yes, 355. Number cast in favour of no, 28. I do hereby declare that more than half of those voting have voted in favour of Peterborough City Council using the Castor Neighbourhood Plan to help it decide planning applications in a neighbourhood area. The turnout is 55.5%. Congratulations.
In the old days, Peterborough and the Peterborough area was genuinely renowned as being a highlight of Britain. We're at a point where lots of interesting things meet. We have the limestone to the west, meeting quite abruptly the fens to the east. And it was known people would travel from a long way to look at all these things. We were known as Black Hare Streets, we had some of the best butterfly woods in the country. We've lost a lot of it just because it's convenient for agriculture. We've got gently rolling land, it was convenient and easy to plough. Industry took over quite a lot of Peterborough. The fens were drained, and in terms of total area, a huge quantity of stuff was lost. What's left to us, often in terms of quite small isolated sites, is still brilliant, it's still superb. It can still remember, if you like, how good the Peterborough area used to be. And it's still there, the best sites still maintain a wonderfully diverse flora and fauna, sometimes in surprisingly small areas. You know, you get a tiny reserve in a wet field that nobody can bother to plough, and all the things that were there a century ago still are. They're still full of orchids and all the little rare wetland plants and all the invertebrates that live in the seepages. We are still absolutely superb from that point of view. Within the framework of what we've got left, with that network of sites we retain, we need to try and make sure that we have everything and in viable populations forever.
It's a fantastic area for wildlife. We've got a rare dragonfly here called the scarce chaser. We have otters, there's 4 otters been seen together. The rarest bird that I've seen along here, which I was absolutely gobsmacked when it appeared opposite me, was a bittern one morning. We don't normally see those over here. There was a common sandpiper recently. I've seen the European dipper, known as the common dipper, on here. You know, we get several migratory birds that pass through here. The quality of the bird watching around here is fantastic, you know. But the wildlife itself, obviously, you've got the river fish which come and go. But the wildlife, the invertebrates that's in the river, everything, the whole ecology of this place is very, very good, and it's got to stay like that. Particularly this time of year in the summer, you'll see picnickers, cyclists, walkers. There's everybody who wants to enjoy the countryside coming. You get people from Ferry Meadows coming, walking up. Obviously the fishermen.
There is some nice barbel in here, which I know, but I'm not interested in them. I much prefer to fish for smaller fish, and roach and dace, and small chub which are in here. So that's what I intend to do. Whether it'll come off or not, I don't know.
I hadn't really looked at this.
Isn't that good?
And interestingly, we've actually got 2 species of St John's wort, so The one right in front of us, that's Perfect St John's wort, which is actually usually the commonest around here.
Smart, eh?
Oh, wow.
Stratiomyces patama, not really a meadowy thing, it's a wetland creature, but it's too nice not to have around to talk about, isn't it?
Very smart.
So woolly thistle is very distinctive because it's one of the only thistles with really three-dimensional leaves. You know, it's got the leaves coming out horizontally and then another set almost vertically. And Castor Ailsworth possibly has the biggest population of woolly thistle that I know.
Same colour scheme as the as cinnabar moths, black forewings with a red mark, red hind wings with a black edge.
Loads of nutrients coming in.
Have a little fondle of it. The wild basil, so it is a member of the mint family, also quite closely related to marjoram, which you also tend to get in these grasslands.
I've got 1 or 2 wetland creatures. I've got a crane fly here. I've got 2 individuals of crane fly because they had so many in the net I couldn't get one in. It's a wonderful little crane fly. There's quite a lot of different sorts of crane fly about in Britain. Some of them are quite hard to separate. This is quite a distinctive one. It goes by the name of Nigrotipular nigra.
This pond was restored by Frog Life. Gary actually did the work here. Obviously it's now recolonising quite rapidly, so, yeah. But that's fine. But the restoration has sort of helped something. So if you look down into the water, you can see some stoneworts there. They look a bit like horsetails, but they're under the water. But they're very much sort of quality indicators. You only get stoneworts where your water's quite clean.
A lot of my interest has been with the ponds, so I've just been coming in and counting the frogs and toads and the newts here, and in wonderment at the butterflies and all the little creepy crawlers that come here. It's a place of tranquility. It's nice, it's sort of 230 acres. It's a very calming place to be. And of course it's a remnant now of, you know, the ancient forest of Nassaberg, and it's not common anymore really to have this sort of environment, and we're very lucky to have it on our doorstep. I don't think I really realised how lucky I was until people tell me that the main pond here is, you know, of national importance. It's one of the top sort of half dozen most biodiverse ponds in the country, and so we've got to keep it.
Well, as chairman of the parish council, that tells you about the date of the stones, or at least part of their history. You know, it's a worn Victorian coin. It's in bronze, and that's a clue from the colour. And the significance of it, Neil, is it was right under the bottom of the stone. Right. So the implication yesterday when we did the excavation was that somebody, because of all the granite that was in the filling, had stood the stones up again. And it doesn't come any better than that, actually. I mean, archaeologically, I wouldn't have expected to find pottery there. I certainly would not have expected to find a coin there. So that's really quite exceptional.
Welcome to the BBC Roman channel. Today we ask, why did the Romans come to Castor?
Yes, why did the Romans come to Castor?
I already asked that.
Why did the Romans come to Castor? I shall tell you.
Who are you and where are you?
I am the Roman god Jupiter. The Romans came to Castor because of the excellent roads here, like Ermine Street.
Don't you mean the A47?
No, we didn't have the A47, the B48. We had Ermine Street.
This must be Castor. Well, would you look at that size of building? It's the Praetorium. It's huge. Some big wig or big toga must live here. Hey, matey?
Matey, do you know who I am?
VIR, very important Roman.
I am your emperor, Emperor Constantine. It is I who stay here on my way up north on Ermine Street. It's a nice little pad, isn't it?
Yes, if you say so, sir.
The Roman palace is enormous. It's right underneath the church. The walls that you can see are sticking out the walls there. Those are the Roman walls that still survive on that side. And there are other Roman walls there. So you could work out how big, how long across the top of the hill the Roman palace was. So if you look at an image like that, it's interesting to think archaeologically what would survive and what wouldn't survive. That's a bowl that somebody's had their breakfast out of. What about that? It's called colour-coated ware, and Castor is very, very famous for producing colour-coated ware. What do you think those are? Those lighter marks there? They're fingerprints, because he's done that. So you can see the potter's fingerprints 2,000 years ago, who's put his, be very careful with it, but if you keep it on the table, see if your fingerprints fit it and pass it round.
To have a real influence long term, I think we have to make sure that our evidence base and our facts are correct as a starting point. Then we have to use good long-term arguments as to why we should continue to have an influence and what benefit this brings, not just to the villages, which are important because we are a community and the community's got to thrive in the future, but we have to realise we're a community within a bigger community, within a further bigger community, within the UK, within the world. So I think that parish councils need to realise that they should start to take the initiatives of perhaps maintenance in the area, taking small initiatives forwards, and trying to take as much power as they can, where they can influence the little bits of daily life which go on. So we're not just in the beck and call of someone in the town hall in Peterborough who may do a good job but doesn't really know what you want, and of course people in Westminster who haven't really got a clue what the real local community wants. So I think that parish council should be aiming towards getting more power at a local level for things which they can control at a sensible scale.
The Neighbourhood Planning Group has on it people that both represent the parish councils, but majority a bunch of volunteers that are interested in getting involved with neighbourhood planning.
Given the job on the 17th of July. So
if you want your voice to be heard, although the Localism Act provides the opportunity for neighbourhood planning, you've got to have a few other things up your sleeve. And that means, I think, the decision that we took to support the development of another group, the Protect Rural Peterborough campaign, was a very good decision, because you can only apply pressure and also develop relationships in a certain way within a neighbourhood planning type environment, and you can't be sure that that's going to solve all the problems for you. So you need to have another way of applying pressure and building relationships, and that's what the Protect Rural Peterborough campaign has done.
Naturally, with any campaigning, you have people who are marketing communications. I myself have had a very long marketing and somewhat successful marketing career, not all the time. But we've also got people who have a great deal of experience, like 3 or 4 decades in planning, housing development, environmental science. We've also got several people, including my own son, who are masters or doctors of environmental science, ecology, and understand the richness and the threat to the habitats around here and the biodiversity of this wonderful countryside.
So it's a bit of a jungle, really, to try and work out how to make community involvement work and be taken seriously. But I think it's just I think that we're going to see more and more of it. We're not going to see less of it. We're going to see more and more of it. People's voice has got to be heard. And some of the research says that if you involve people properly, you end up with a better result.
We're a special little spot. We're a quite unique little corner that's hanging on to a lot of remnant things against the odds. I mean, seriously against the odds of the things that have happened around Peterborough over the last century and a half or so.
We only have one world, so if we don't look after it, it'll be too late.